Most of us have experienced some form of peer pressure throughout our lives, and it's not always obvious to identify, and it can come in many different forms, sometimes unintentionally. With New Year's Eve celebrations only a few days away, peer pressure to consume alcohol by family and friends is much more likely.
But according to Drink Less, Feel Fresh founder Tom Cartwright, there are a few simple steps to help you stick to your own commitments this festive season. This morning, Tom joins us in the studio to discuss, and we're so delighted that you are. Thanks so much for coming into us. First off, can you try and tell us what peer pressure exactly is?
Peer pressure is a really interesting one. If it's okay to start by suggesting that, can we bring a little bit of fun and play to the conversation? Because it's often approached with a really clinical and straight down the line approach, and it kind of scares people off.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, peer pressure is really that kind of fast, drastic behaviour of one or more people trying to, I'm going to use the word dramatically, influence you out of being an individual and making your own choices so that you can behave like the group that you're currently in.
So if we apply this to drinking, for instance, you've gone out with all the best intentions of the world, and that is to not tie one on too big that night. And so you maybe don't start drinking, start with water on the night. And they go, well, what's the matter with you?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Peer pressure is only found when there's a group of two or more people.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist if you're on your own. So, you know, the famous one that everyone's experienced is being at the bar, being at the restaurant, someone saying, can I get you a glass of bubbles? And you think, I'm actually going to have a water. And it's so quickly rebutted with, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll get you a glass of bubbles. You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, we've all experienced that. And that happens because tribes and social groups exist because a number of people get together, and it's the similarity between them that gets them to build connection together. So when one individual makes a decision that's not aligned with how that group's operating, you're actually, in a way to say, you're breaking connection and relatability, and it evokes fear in the individuals that are still in the group. So for you to choose to be unique and challenge the status quo of the group, you're going to evoke that peer pressure, and that's where it comes from, to quickly go, hang on a second, no, be like us.
Have you got one great tip for people to take into New Year's Eve if they just want to, you know, make sure they don't overdo it?
Yeah, of course. Give yourself permission to say no. And what I really mean by that, when we can understand that sometimes a tribe and a group, a place where there's an event going on like New Year's Eve, just understanding that sometimes what you want to get out of it isn't actually aligned with the group and the community. And just having that awareness and stepping back and being really honest with yourself. If you're going to a New Year's Eve party or you're going to an event in January, ask yourself, hang on a second, what do I want to get out of it? And just notice that if there's a discrepancy between what you want to get out, for example, if you're someone like me, you might want to leave at 9 o'clock and get home to give the kids a kiss and get up early the next day. Or you might want to have a couple of glasses of champagne, but not overindulge until 1 or 2 a.m. You know, it's really about finding choice and freedom for yourself. And choice and freedom starts by learning that sometimes your choices are not aligned with the tribe. And if that's the case, you have to learn in some way, shape or form how to back that.
Very well said, yeah. Wake up with your own hangover.
Well, we really appreciate you coming in,
You're awesome.
particularly at this time of year, to share that very valuable advice. Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks for having me.